What's up, YouTube? My name's Nick, and I'm going to tell you a little about my coming out story today. Whenever I was going through middle school and high school, people really never guessed that I might not be straight. I played football, I was a firefighter for about 3 years, I worked on cars, I just wasn't very stereotypically gay. I was raised in a very Republican family. We watched Bill O'Reilly every night. So it was a big shock to everyone whenever I decided to come out. Starting my sophomore year, I decided to spread it around my small group of friends, and I told one of my friends that happened to have the largest mouth in our school, and she started telling other people. Before long, I had these people coming up to me asking me if I was gay or not. And I still remember the question. People would come up and they would ask, "Hey, can I ask you something?" And I knew right then and there exactly what they were asking, and I had a formulated answer. I denied it for a while, and then I decided that no better time than the present, so I started telling my school that I was gay, and it went over well. No one really had a problem with it. I kind of lost a few friends along the way, mostly guy friends, but I guess they weren't really true friends anyways. So after I came out to my school, I decided that it was time to come out to my parents. And I did it probably in the worst way possible. I met my mom at Starbucks after a movie with our whole family one time. Aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa, everyone. And I had been planning this for days, so I was so ready to tell her, and I was going to tell her no matter what. I didn't know everyone was coming to Starbucks. I invited my mom. So everyone shows up in one big group, and I bring my mom aside, and I go, "Hey, Mom, I'm gay." And she just kind of went blank, and she was like, "Wait, what?" And I told her, and she goes, "We'll talk about this later." And that to me was, I'm never going home again. So I went over to a friend's house, and she went home, and then she called me, and she's like, "Where are you?" And I was like, "I don't want to come home." So she talks to me over the phone, basically tells me that everything's okay with it, it's not that big of a deal, we just really want to talk to you. And I was like, "Wait, we?" And she's like, "I told your dad." And I didn't want her to tell my dad. I didn't want my dad to ever find out, because we went hunting together, we worked on cars together. He bought me hundreds of Hooters calendars. It just we had that dad-son bond, and she told my dad, which was a big shocker to me. And I really didn't want to go home. Eventually, though, you have to go home. So I went home, and I'm pretty sure I went straight to my bedroom and just shut the door and didn't want to deal with anything. And here they came. Both of them crying, saying that this isn't what they wanted for me. They know that life's hard already, and they don't want to make it any harder. And I told them that being in the closet was harder than being out anyway, so what I've been through is easier than what I'm going to go through. So it kind of ended at that, and they said that no matter what, they'll love me and they'll support me. A few weeks later, everything was kind of normal. Everything got back to normal. And then a big thing started happening. My mom came to me and she goes, "I don't want the rest of the family to really find out yet." And I was entering college at this time with my cousin. My cousin, she was already at college, and it was my first year. And I knew that she would probably find out. And so sure enough, about December of my freshman year in college, she finds out. I tell her everything's cool. Don't tell your parents. She tells my other cousin, and my other cousin's kind of like my friend. She has a huge mouth. So slowly, of course, it gets around to my whole family, except my grandma and grandpa. And my grandpa, he was military, very, 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 very strict, Republican, Christian, everything. So my mom was convinced that it would probably kill my grandpa if he knew. So my mom comes down to college and hangs out with me for a little while. We really grew close, and there was a lot of unanswered questions that she had that I guess she was scared to bring up or didn't really know how to approach me about them. And we talked a lot, and she cried, and basically, she had a whole bunch of misconceptions. I'm gonna get married and I'm gonna have kids, and I'm gonna live the American dream. The only thing that's different is it's gonna be with another guy, not a girl. And we really got a lot closer during that time. And about 3 weeks later, I get a phone call, and she told my grandma, and of course my grandma told my grandpa. They were just fine with it. So I really lucked out. Everyone in my family is completely supportive of it, and they don't have any problems with it. I don't have any resistance. So I really lucked out. And if anyone would have told me back my sophomore year in high school that my sophomore year in college, this is where I would be, I would have laughed at them and turned away and never thought about it. I was so in the closet, so against coming out. I mean, there were times that I hated myself for this, and I would change for anything. And now I wouldn't give anything to change who I am. I love who I am. So yeah, that's my coming out story in a small nutshell. Whenever I was in the